Hello, I am Agustin Arteaga. I am the Eugene McDermott Director at the Dallas Museum of Art. I was born in Mexico and now I am a US citizen. And it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you so much, Agustin. Could you begin by telling us a little bit about your role as a museum director and some of the ways in which it benefits our community?
Well, being a museum director, it's like directing an orchestra, or a band. You have to make sure that everyone is doing the things at the right time and that everyone is focused in delivering something to an audience. And my job is to use my talented collaborators, my colleagues, working together to make a great experience for everyone that visits the museum.
That's great. And could you tell us about what inspired you to become a museum director?
Actually, I never thought I would be a museum director. When I was a kid, I wanted to be many things. I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to be a diplomat. I wanted to be an architect. And that's the career I pursued. I became an architect. But my love for the arts and being used to visit museums, I kind of naturally felt into that. I needed to have an opportunity to relate to the beautiful works of art that I would see in museums, and it became much more of an accident. But what I think it's important is to be aware that we don't really have to make sure that we know everything, especially when we're young, but that there's a lot of things that we still have time to discover. But we have to make sure that we want to make something good out of ourselves.
That was really well said. So even though your training was as an architect, what are the experiences that most prepared you for your current career?
Well, after being an architect, I started working in a museum, and I was interested in sculpture, and that's kind of a relation between the architectural and the sculpture because of volumes, and I had to prepare by learning art history, which I didn't know much about. So I did a master degree after that, my career as an architect. And then I felt that once I knew that I was really passionate about art history, I decided to pursue also a PhD, which is the higher education.
Great. And could you tell students, just describe what one of your favorite days as a museum director has been?
Believe it or not, my favorite day as a museum director is Sunday. And not because I don't work, but it's Sundays, the day that we usually have the most visitors in the museum. And I love going into the museum and walk around and listen to people talking and seeing how they enjoy the work that we do, and how much they can connect with works of art. Because I think what is beautiful about art is that somehow it reflects us and somehow it teaches us a lot of things. We say that the DMA is a place of wonder and discovery where art comes alive. And that's what I love the most, when people see art coming alive on Sundays.
That is really well said. I had not thought about Sundays that way, but that is beautiful. Finally, do you have a challenge for students who want to know a little bit about what it's like to be a museum director?
Well, I started saying that being a museum director is like a orchestra conductor or the director of a band, and And I think that those who play that role have to have a lot of time for themselves. You know, they have to think carefully about what they're gonna do. And probably if you at home would sit down and close your eyes and think about how would you like things to happen, or how would you make the sound of that orchestra perfect, and you would like to get from everyone something, what would be those great things everyone should bring so that music is beautiful? And and if you think about that, and it may be that when you open your eyes, you say, I like people to do this or that, or myself to do this or that. And that is somehow a value. It's something that you appreciate, that you recognize that brings good to others. And perhaps you can exercise that at home and find your own values.
What a great challenge. Well, thank you so much, Agustin. It's been a pleasure.
It is my pleasure, and I really hope that sometime soon I will see you at the museum, enjoying the museum. But why not sometime in the future see you as another museum director?
Wonderful. Thanks so much.
Bye.